Hi everyone, my name is Brittany Killen, and this is my Week 7 progress report on my venture Robox. So to give you an overview of Robox, Robox is a low-cost robotics rental learning kit that teaches design, build, and test concepts of advanced technology to high school students. So the iteration here is I changed it to a rental service rather than a service where you buy robotics products. So when examining my customer development report, as you can see, I've talked to a total of 23 customers, 7 since the last progress report. And overall, my hypotheses have really stayed very similar. The major change is really switching to a rental robotics learning kit rather than one that you can purchase. So the experiments performed here were interviewing parents, high school students, teachers, administrators, outreach programs, and startups about these hypotheses. So on the right here, as you could see, there are a lot of different feedback from those types of customers. So for no low-cost rental options, many people actually agreed and liked this concept, I found. Overall, the majority of them agreed that there are no low-cost rental options, and they thought that this would be a very good tool for, especially teachers and outreach programs to have to kind of develop their students and have better access to more technology. For no access in schools, a startup leader agreed, saying that there's really no access for girls specifically, and a parent agreed. There were some neutral ones who said they have access, but it's expensive. One teacher even mentioned that sometimes they pay $50,000 a year for technology for 60 to 100 students just to get a hands-on approach to it. And 2 students disagreed, saying that they use websites and apps a lot to kind of get that hands-on feeling of the technology. And then lastly, as far as limited channels go, 2 parents, 1 student, and 1 startup leader agreed. 1 teacher and 1 student were neutral, and 1 teacher disagreed, saying that you can find these things on Amazon and stuff like that. So when looking at whether to iterate or pivot, I really think that another iteration should be made, and it's just one major iteration this time. It's that there is a major need for a rental service for robotics products. So right now, there's really no market selling rental products, and many teachers and parents think that this will solve a big issue and major need of being able to have constant advanced technology in the classroom and at home. So by simply returning the product when you're done using this, this kind of allows everyone to constantly have up-to-date technology at home and in the classroom. This also allows teachers to have more labs and projects, allows the students to get their hands on advanced technology for the time, and allows the parents to really give their children a hands-on approach to new opportunities. And in addition to this, I might want to also start looking into making these kits more modular. So for instance, having sub-assemblies that can be built or put together that could lead to a complete project. So here's my lean canvas model. It might be a little bit difficult to see, so I've included the link at the bottom. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I thought I would mention the major iterations to it. So the first major iteration is under the key metrics. So it's the revenue driving modular robotics product kit. And for that, we would have a one-time fee to rent a product kit, which would be based on how many days they want to rent it for. And the kit could be rented on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. And they can simply mail the kit back when they are finished, and there will be a late fee applied if they hold on to it for too long. As far as the cost structure goes, I was able to do an initial customer acquisition cost and customer lifetime value cost, which I'll get into a little bit more on a few other slides. But overall, I found that it would be about $10 a customer for an acquisition cost and have a lifetime value of about $37 a customer. And then lastly, for revenue stream, I'm thinking of doing something along the lines of paying $2 to $5 a day for the rental service, depending on which kit the person's renting out. And they can rent it for up to 1 month at a time. And if they like it after that month, they'll have the opportunity to purchase it. And any day that's late, it can be charged a 50-cent late fee a day. So for my journal, through the readings, videos, and activities, I was able to really learn about how to narrow down my focus on my product goals. For instance, I learned about customer acquisition costs, customer lifetime value. I was able to narrow down my value proposition, and I learned how to create a web page for my MVP, and I learned how to develop a marketing strategy for feedback for my potential customers, such as Google Ads. So over the next couple weeks, I hope to really develop this business model and this MVP to learn more about the process. So in addition to looking at my value proposition and getting feedback from my customers, I really started to develop a working MVP website to get my analytics up and running. So my website is now roboxco.com, and as you can see here, I started to develop it a little bit. So if you click on that link, you should get a good idea of kind of the overall product I'm going for as I develop my MVP. So, I mean, you can see I have a how it works section, I have a modular perfection section, which kind of explains the product a little bit, and then I also have a few different potential ideas for what can go inside the product kits right now. So after I got my MVP website up, I thought that I can start looking at Google Analytics to kind of figure out, what my potential customer basis is. So on the right side here, you can see I made a Google ad, which I started to develop using a Google ad campaign. And I've started to run that campaign, and I can actually see what's going on in the campaign as of right now. So there aren't that many results right now, as you can see. There's mostly just impressions of the Google ad campaign. So most of my campaign is coming from smartphones and from computers, it looks like. And the most search phrases to actually access this ad campaign are things like simple robot kit, hobby robot kits, and build a robot kit. So I hope that over the next week or so, I can kind of develop my ad campaign a little bit more to kind of narrow my focus and figure out how to get more clicks on my website. So based on my Google ad campaign, I started to kind of narrow down what my customer acquisition costs could be and what my customer lifetime value could be. And right now, these are kind of more hypotheses until I really get more people clicking on my website. So I'm not going to really go through all the math now. You can kind of read through it and to get a good impression of what I'm going for. But pretty much it comes down to that my customer acquisition cost would be $10 a customer, and that my customer lifetime cost would be about $37 a customer. So to continue my supporting documentation a little bit, so did anything change about my value proposition? As I mentioned earlier, I did iterate it slightly to focus more on a rental service that allows teachers and students to rent modular robotics kits. And the value of that would be that teachers and parents who are concerned about having updated technology and equipment would have a more financially simpler way to create and have access to more projects in that robotics area. And then as far as coming up with what constitutes a pass-fail signal for the test, it's pretty much the same as what it's been, but iterated. It is a rental kit a good idea, or is there a better solution to this accessibility? And then lastly, for my customer flow, as you saw on my Google Analytics slide, 12 people have been interested so far, but have not really clicked anything on the website. So I will have to have more definition as I start to really develop this Google ad campaign and marketing on it. So for my customer and partner list, as I mentioned before, I've talked to 23 customers to date. And so far, they have been 7 high school students, 5 teachers, 2 school administrators, 5 parents, and 4 technology startups or outreach programs. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation on Robox.